What is up, guys? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're covering some more r/am I the butthole. Now firstly, I'd like to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day for being here. It really does mean the world. And yesterday over on YouTube we had 3 new members: Jamali Ribeiro, Miss Ruby and Stephen Davis. And over on Patreon we had 2 new members: Poke, I hope I got your name right, and Liz Fritz. Thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the world. And with that being said, let's just crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. And our first story comes from Baby Year 123. Am I the arsehole for medically tattooing my child under the recommendation of a doctor? Hear me out. I, 31 female, and my husband tried for 5 years to get pregnant. Testing eventually revealed I have eggs of fucking steel. Without medical help, I'll never get pregnant. So that's what we did. Gave our samples, 1 petri dish, and 9 months later, and I have 2 beautiful fraternal twin boys, Jack and Adam. Fake. Thing is, Jake has a condition. Without going into detail, requires a shot once a week. Once he is older, he can take pills. I went back to work and mother-in-law offered to watch the babes. She's wonderful, I trust her 100%. They were 9 months, now 16 months. During this time she would give his injection as we had a schedule, 10 AM before snack and nap. Worked very well until a month ago when she gave the shot to the wrong kid. Now they may be fraternal but they look identical. I'll be honest, my husband and I mix them up sometimes. Everyone does. She immediately noticed her mistake and called 911 and they were transferred to hospital. By the time I got there, Adam had been given the reversal agent and they were both happily sipping on juice, loving the attention. We went home the same night, told to push fluids. He was never in danger. It's a very slow acting medication that, at worst, would have given him diarrhea in a few days. Mother-in-law was beside herself. I tried to ease her worry but she refused to babysit, so to daycare they went. This daycare has a nurse because some of the kids have medications, so she knew what to do, but the worry of mixing up the kids was a valid concern, and they would not keep name tags on. Doctors recommended a medical tattoo. Explained they tattoo a freckle no bigger than the end of a pencil eraser on an area of skin that's easily seen while the child is under mild sedation, similar to dental offices. Because of the area, it usually fades in 2 to 3 years, but by then they should have developed more personal features and may not need it redone. So after a discussion with my husband, we did it. He has a 2mm brown freckle on his earlobe. From entering the office to leaving it took 30 minutes. Never felt a thing. Mother-in-law lost her shit the second I mentioned a medical tattoo. I tried to explain but she just freaked out, so I put both kids on the floor and told her to pick up Jack and find the tattoo. She picked up Adam, so I handed her Jack, and after 20 minutes, still couldn't find it. Stripped into his skivvies, I finally pointed it out, and she went, "That's just a freckle." I said, "My point exactly. Adam doesn't have a freckle there, so that's how daycare can tell them apart." She's still pissed and ranting. Once I explained to others, and they fail to find it, they understand, but they still think I went too far tattooing my child and altering their body. I believe I took the necessary precautions recommended by the doctor, and the tattoo will fade with sun exposure as he grows. By the time he's 5, it probably won't even be visible or it'll just look like a faded freckle. So, am I the arsehole? I gotta tell you, I didn't know, I'd never heard of this before. I've never heard of a medical tattoo, and I came into this thinking that this kid's gonna have a full sleeve by the end of it. I was very much expecting an entitled parents type of story. But as you said, you've just taken the advice of a medical professional in this case to tell them apart and stop from something potentially really bad happening at some point. So I can't say you're the arsehole in this situation. Oh, I'm talking after this story, waffling on after this story. Hey, I gotta say, I am sorry to some people because I had a couple of, about 3 or so comments yesterday saying that I talk way too much. And I'm doing it right now. After stories and things like that, and they say just get on with the stories, and I am sorry, but I kind of think this is just what we do here. I hope most of the people enjoy this kind of thing. If you don't, please point it out, because obviously I need to change things to suit you guys too. But I do enjoy talking about the stories and talking with you guys about the stories as well, and I think it's just part of the channel. But as I said, correct me if I'm wrong. But the comments say, probably not a manatee says, not the arsehole at all, it's literally a fake freckle. It's not like you gave him a full sleeve of pin-up girls and muscle cars. Also, it's to make it harder to accidentally kill him or his brother. You made the right call. Trouble94 says, not the arsehole. You took the recommendation from a medical professional and made the decision with your spouse for the safety of your child. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially for something so small. Entrepreneur OK says, not the arsehole. The tattoo is for the safety of both children. It's a medical tattoo, just like they do for radiation treatments. God, I'm learning something new every day here. The older grey hair says, of course not the arsehole. Why are you even asking? Nautical Fiesta says, not the arsehole. She gave one of her brothers a shot of medication that shouldn't have got it. To prevent it, you had a small, minor procedure done that has no lasting repercussions for the child, and in the long run will be unnoticeable. You are not the arsehole. Your mother-in-law seems to be a bit of one. What was her thoughts on how to prevent any mix-up in the future? Don't answer, it doesn't matter. They're your kids. Now, what would you do in this situation? Would you get one of these medical procedures done to stop these children from getting mixed up, to prevent potential mix-ups in the future? Do you think it's a great idea or not? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 1. And our next story is from Just Want to Relax. Am I the arsehole for continuing to sit on my porch and drink beer like usual, even though my neighbour is having a woman's only yoga classes in our shared backyard now? So when I get home from work, I go and sit on my back porch and drink a beer or two. I just enjoy the sun and fresh air while I stare off into space. I actually share the backyard with another unit. Duplex situation. The couple that lives there got permission from our landlord to use the yard to have yoga and exercise sessions, since their indoor studio space is being closed again. They have these classes around the same time, that because it's convenient time for a lot of other people too. 2 times a week, Wednesday and Friday, the lesson is women's only. One of my neighbours came over after their lesson last Friday. She was very non-confrontational when she approached me. She acknowledged that I had every right to sit there and it wasn't a problem on their co-ed class days, but said that women felt uncomfortable with my presence during the women's only class and are no longer wanting to attend. She explained that these are their most popular classes and the ones that they make them most of their money, and they can't afford to lose more clients. While I understood that, I really didn't want to give up my little outdoor time 2 days a week, so I continued to chill on the porch like I always do. On Wednesday, the class was already setting up and the women were all chatting. Not long after I sat down, my other neighbour, not the same one that talked to me the first time, came over. She was a lot more stern than the first one when she asked me to wait to come out until they're done. I get a little nervous when people are mad at me, so I apologised and told her I really need this time to unwind. She asked me if I didn't think that these women need this time too, that they live just as stressful lives and need to be able to feel safe here and not like some drunk guys gawking at them while they're in tight clothes and vulnerable poses. I'm not really trying to stare at them though, I usually just stare off into space and they're right in front of my porch, so I guess it looks like I am. I also don't drink enough to get drunk, usually just 1 beer, although sometimes more on Fridays. Like I said, I'm not really good at dealing with people when they're mad at me, so I ended up just apologising again. She just stared at me. Eventually, she said, I just didn't get it, and walked away. I could hear both of them apologising to the women there. In the end, most of them left though. While they continued the class with the 2 people that remained, I could just feel them both glaring at me, so I ended up getting up a little early and going inside. Anyway, just a little while ago, I got an email from my landlord. It was reminding me that the backyard was a shared space and I need to be respectful of others when they're using it. Now I'm unsure how I should handle today because I'm already tired and looking forward to relaxing on my porch, but today is another women's only day. Oh, we have one that could potentially go both ways. I think so anyway. I came into this one thinking like, as I was reading it, I was thinking, well, you know, he's been doing this, it sounds like before all this happened. He used to go out there, sit on the porch and have that hour unwinding time, drinking his beer. But there is a lot of angles to come from in this one. One being a pandemic, so they're having to use this shared space, which should they be anyway? I don't know whether the landlord should be allowing this for insurance purposes. That's neither here or there at this moment in time. But I can see how this is a women's only class, so you know they go to this specific class for that reason, obviously. And then for have someone to come out on the porch and just sit there staring at them would be quite off-putting. I think I would be off-put if I was exercising in the garden and someone was staring at me. But I think I'd also have to realise that this is a shared space, you know, and he's been doing this for a while. He's totally should be able to do that. And I'm going to go with a potentially controversial no one's an arsehole here, just because I think there could be a really good compromise to be made here. I think, you know, you could go and introduce yourself, go and say, look, I'm not a bad guy, I just want to sit here and drink my beer. or turn your chair in another direction, or schedule times with each other, just so you can work around each other. There's got to be some way of doing it. They could either come after your hour or you could come out after their sort of hour, that kind of thing. But Trump's niece says your landlord is an idiot. He can be sued if someone is injured. A shared space suggests that the party is using it for similar intended purposes. It doesn't mean one party gets to assume privacy at all costs. This is your neighbour's business. She has decided to move it to the backyard. If she does so, it's her responsibility to maintain privacy, not yours. I would not like to come home after a long day of work and walk into an exercise class, and I don't care if it's outside. We're in a pandemic. And it irritates the hell out of me that there is an insinuation that you are some kind of leering weirdo loitering on your own damn property. And I'm a woman. You are not the arsehole, and I would be furious. If she did not let up, I would go as far as calling my local health department or zoning board. But that's me. The furry goose says, "This is the best Am I the Arsehole I've seen in a long time." Cephalopod person says, "Info. If you're just staring into space, can you rotate your chair so you're staring in a different direction? It says shared space, so you have the right to use it, but it's also not unreasonable that the women would be uncomfortable having a man pointing his eyes in their direction, drinking beer while they're doing yoga." And OP replies, "I guess, but I'd really rather not be directly facing a dreary wall. I get enough of that at work." Hey Jude says, "No one's an arsehole here. You're entitled to sit on your porch, but I really think you should just take the high road here." She's trying to run a difficult business in these times, and your presence is literally interfering with her livelihood. What, they do yoga twice a week for maybe an hour? Can you find somewhere else to be when she has a women's only class? Some kind of compromise seems really easy. What could she offer you in exchange for the sole use of the space during those times? Perhaps you would clear out in exchange for a weekly six-pack. Pura Vida says, "Okay, how about you get a hammock and a hammock stand, that way you're facing upwards towards the sky and turn away from them. Plus, hammocks rock." No Long 5784 says, "Info. This is more out of curiosity than actual fact finding. But what if you went over and introduced yourself? That way women who would know who you are, and you can explain you're in no way gawking or trying to make them feel uncomfortable and just want to relax in a space that you pay for as well. It seems shitty that your landlord is now involved." Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? As I said, I think it's one that could potentially go all sorts of different directions. There's so many different compromises and ways it could go. Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 2. And our next story is from Lana. "Am I the arsehole for trolling customers who keep asking me where I'm really from?" So I'm 19 female and recently moved to a small, quiet town. I started working at a fancy local cafe and get along with almost everybody at my workplace. For the record, I'm mixed and look racially ambiguous. I frequently get customers, mostly middle-aged white people, asking me where I'm from. When I tell them I was literally born in this country, they ask where my parents are from. I tell them again that my parents were also born here, but the questioning doesn't stop there. Some have even asked me where I'm really from. It's just plain rude and ignorant. Some people actually try to use a few words in a different language, e.g. Spanish, and expect me to understand. I also received a lot of weird / questionable compliments that aren't flattering at all. This, combined with people always probing about my background, is tiring to deal with every day. I just want to get my job done without being quizzed or commented on. After a while, I got so fed up that I started trolling customers. Now, when someone asks me where I'm from, I just make up a country / city on the spot. For example, a few days ago I told someone I'm from a relatively unknown place called Mangoistan. I'm not very creative, so mango slices caught my eye. Not all people catch on, but when they do, they either 1. Laugh it off, or 2. Get confused and annoyed. I don't care either way. One of my co-workers doesn't like this at all and said that I'm being very rude and unprofessional. I told her that I don't want to deal with racist attitudes from customers, and she said I wouldn't get tips if they were actually racist. She even said that I obviously receive bigger tips because people want to demonstrate they're not racist. We argued and she said I'm an attention seeker and should appreciate people being nice. I told her that I literally want the opposite of attention, and she just called me stuck up and dramatic. Am I really the arsehole here? And we're going to start off with Sign saying not the arsehole, but add some variety. Barovia, Westeros, Potsylvania, Pylea. And then OP replied, Asgard is next. Postscript 400 says, ugh, so sorry experiencing these racist microaggressions. I sometimes find a perky, fake confused, why'd you ask? Helpful. Then whatever they answer, to that you say, oh, huh? Fad says, your co-worker is a butthole. You are not the arsehole and this is hilarious. Please keep doing it. Gelato is the best, saying, not the arsehole. Nobody needs an explanation as to why you are not white. Sorry Girl says, I'm also mixed raced, Black American and Bengali. And I also get this question all the time. I've been making things up on the spot, but one of my favourite things to say is, I actually don't know. I was abandoned as a newborn and I don't know anything about my family. Just to make people as uncomfortable as possible. I love it. Now, what would you do in this situation if you was OP and you was being questioned like that? Do you think they was right to make jokes about it and try and confuse them? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 3. And our next story comes from No Dog. Am I the arsehole for telling my son that he is not welcome in my home if he gets a dog? The title doesn't paint me in the best light, but please hear me out. My ex-husband and I split about 3 years ago. We've both since found new partners and are quite happily co-parenting our 2 children. Milo, who is 17, and Jason, who is 14. Milo is essentially blind. He's completely blind in one eye and does not have a great deal of vision in the other. We have done what we can to support him and cater to his needs. He is very confident and an outgoing boy, despite all of this, and it brings me a great deal of comfort knowing that he is happy. Everything was going absolutely perfect until a few weeks ago. My ex's partner, who we'll be referring to as Mary, has a habit of getting involved in situations that do not concern her. She frequently tries to take over as mother when my boys are staying at their dad's house. She makes a point of butting into calls to talk to my boys, and when Milo was 15, she went out of her way to buy him Harry Potter books in Braille. She knew that this was our thing. We'd curl up on the sofa and I'd read the books to him. Well, a while ago she decided to stick her nose in and suggested that Milo get a guide dog. He doesn't really go out on his own, he's always accompanied by a friend of a family member. He was very sold on the idea and has started looking into applying for one, as his GP apparently agrees with Mary. I'm not a fan of this idea. Milo is perfectly capable of navigating his way around the house, and he always has someone with him when he's outdoors. I just don't see why he'd need a guide dog. I also admit that I am a bit of a clean freak and like everything to be sitting tidy. That's just not possible with a dog. I'm not having my home being covered in dog hair and having the furniture chewed up and jumped on. The boys begged for a cat for ages and the cat hair is bad enough. I am also not a big fan of dogs. I was bitten as a child and ever since I've always been a bit wary of them. We had a disagreement about it yesterday and I snapped, telling Milo that he can get a dog if he wants, but he is not living under my roof with it. By all means, if he moved out and got a dog, then I wouldn't see any issues with it, but he's adamant that this is what he wants, knowing full well I don't want the house to turn into an absolute pigsty. He has been informed that under no circumstances does he bring that animal into my home. He can visit as much as he likes without it, and I would of course visit him, but the dog can't live in my home. His dad and Mary of course have taken his side. Jason has tried to talk to his brother, but Milo seems dead set on the idea and now thinks I'm an arsehole for not allowing a dog in the house. Am I an arsehole in this situation? The whole first red flag came up with the whole books. It was so sad to read that. Like, I know in her mind she has like this nice idea of them reading books together and it's their thing, but she's stopping him being able to read by not letting her have these books in Braille in the first place. So yes, this other person is absolutely mothering your child because she's doing the right thing by them. He's 17 years old and you're denying him basics like being able to read and get around by himself. He can't go outside because he doesn't have one of these guide dogs to himself. And I know this mother might be doing this out of pure love, but you can see that like she's absolutely keeping him down with what she's doing right now, not allowing him to get any independence at 17 when he needs it the most right now. But saying stuff like you're not going to have a guide dog in the house because it's just going to leave hair and things around. Oh man. Guide dogs are so well trained. It's not like it's going to be jumping all over the furniture and biting stuff anyway. They're probably the most trained dogs ever, you know. Ah, unbelievably and incredibly sad at the same time. Queen of Quackers says, you're the arsehole. She's being a mother to your kids, which says to me she's looking after them and caring for them as well as being a positive role model. She got a present for your son of something that he would truly enjoy but got pissed because you were the one who read the books to him. And now you don't want him to get the dog that allows him independence. Strong, you're the arsehole because this is screaming at me that you don't want him to have his independence and want to control him. You gave him an ultimatum. I hope you're prepared for the potential negative effects. ABC says, I am flabbergasted at this posting. I'm a 74-year-old woman with graduate training who worked in human services during my career years. What parent does not want their child to have maximum opportunities to live a full, rewarding life? So, it sounds like a pristine house is more important to you than your son having freedom and a sense of accomplishment to live his own life with as much independence as possible. For all the rest of Milo's life, he cannot depend on other people being available to him when he needs to go out, go to classes, have employment, go on dates, travel. The fullest range of life experiences begin with him having a trained guide dog. You seem to resent your ex's new partner, with whom you seem to feel some competition. Let me rework that. Maybe she is a decent, caring human who just wants the best for Milo, and she has given her time and energy and resources to be supportive of him. Once you get hurt in the Harry Potter books out of your head, maybe you will see common sense about Milo and his needs for a better future. Now there is an update to this post, which says, ETA, I am not infantizing my son. What does it matter if I refer to him as my baby? I do the same with Jason. They are my children and always will be, no matter how old they are. Parents of Reddit will understand this. I'm sick to death of all the comments accusing me of this. I know Milo is 18. I did give birth to him. I want Milo to be independent, but that's a lot of unnecessary stress to put on him right now. And no, I'm not bitter about Mary. No, she is not abusive. I never said she was. I just don't want her waltzing into our lives and trying to take over the role of mother. If Milo wants something, for example, an item of clothing, and I cannot get it straight away, Mary will go out of her way to get it first. When my husband told her that Milo likes singing, she decided to have a karaoke night with him. Anything she can do to make herself look good, she will. The guide dog suggestion was no exception. She actually sounds like a great person. But last edit says, I understand Reddit. I will admit I wasn't in the best state of mind and was not ready to read all the comments, so I did come off as a bit defensive. If it meant so much to Milo and his independence, he can get the dog. Something about hundreds of people telling you that you're a colossal arsehole will do that to you. I took the suggestion and did some research regarding guide dogs, and I do not feel as strongly about having one in the house now that I know how well behaved they are. I did not set out to hurt my son, but it happened. I know I'm never going to like Mary, but as much as it pains me to say it, she may have had a point in this matter. Now I turn it to you guys. What do you guys think about this story? I think it's definitely going to go to an arsehole verdict. It's got to, surely. But let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to vote on that poll in the description for story 4. Thank you for being here once again. The time out of your day is always truly appreciated. You are absolutely amazing people for what you're doing. And don't forget about our Christmas competition over on Discord. Links down in the description below. Prizes to be won, and just get festive. Get in there, guys. Get involved. I'll also be adding more lines to the merch store, some mugs and stuff like that if you guys are interested. Another link is down in the description. And just a huge thank you for the time out of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.